Hello friends, how are you? At the start of today's film, we are introduced to a man named Marco. He visits a Russian gangster and, upon arrival, hands over a bag full of money to him. Marco asks where his goods are, to which the gangster hands him a car key and tells him the goods are in the car's trunk. Marco takes the key and leaves. Before departing, he sets the entire warehouse, where he met the gangster, on fire. In the car's trunk, he finds a suitcase, picks it up, and the scene ends there. Next, we are introduced to the main character, Ethan, who is shown with his wife. Today, he finds out that his wife is pregnant. Hearing this, he becomes very happy. It's Christmas Day, and since both Ethan and his wife work at the airport, they head to work together. Due to Christmas, the airport is expected to be very crowded. Ethan works in the security department, and he is briefed on how to manage the workload today. Later, Ethan speaks to his boss about wanting a promotion. He doesn't want to check people's boarding passes anymore, but prefers scanning luggage instead. His boss refuses, saying that it's not the right day to change anything. However, Ethan's friend Jason helps him out by convincing the boss to change Ethan's duty. Finally, Ethan is assigned to scan luggage. The scene then shifts to a car parked outside the airport, where a man named Riley has kidnapped someone. Within minutes, Riley hacks all the airport cameras. It's revealed that Riley has also sent someone to Jason's house to kidnap his family. While monitoring real-time CCTV footage of the airport on his phone, Riley is shocked to find Ethan sitting in Jason's place, as he was unaware of the duty swap. It becomes evident that these people are criminals planning something major. To ensure success, they had kidnapped Jason's family to blackmail him. Now, they need to gather information about Ethan's family. The hacker quickly retrieves Ethan's complete background information. He learns that Ethan's only family is his pregnant wife. Using this as leverage, he sends his men to Ethan's house. A report there confirms that Ethan's wife is indeed pregnant, and they plan to use this as Ethan's weakness. Back at the airport, someone delivers a package to Ethan, which he insists isn't his. But then, Ethan receives a message on his phone instructing him to pick up the earphones from the package and put them on. Though hesitant, Ethan complies. As soon as Ethan puts on the earphones, a man starts speaking to him, saying, "If you want to save your and your wife's lives, do exactly as I say." Ethan is confused, so the man explains further. A man in a red hat will arrive shortly, carrying a suitcase. All you have to do is scan it and let it pass without raising any alarms. If you do this, both of you will be safe. The man warns Ethan not to try anything smart, assuring him that he is being watched. The man also reveals that he knows exactly where Ethan's wife is, as Riley had already gathered all the necessary information. Hearing this, Ethan becomes terrified. He discreetly places his phone under the desk and tries to call the police. But the man, watching his every move, catches on and orders Ethan to end the call, threatening dire consequences if he doesn't comply. Believe it or not, there's a rifle aimed at your wife's head right now. One wrong move and she's dead, the man warns. When the police answer the call, Ethan doesn't say anything and hangs up. Realizing that Ethan is likely to follow his orders now, the man locks Ethan's phone in a locker. Ethan asks, "Are you a terrorist?" The man replies, "No, I'm not a terrorist. Someone else hired me to do this." Ethan then asks, "What's in the suitcase?" The man responds, "You don't need to know. And even if you find out, keep quiet. If the suitcase doesn't reach its destination or someone tries to open it, both you and your wife will die." Ethan tries to act clever again, writing a message on his smartwatch. He notices Riley sitting in a van outside the airport, the one who hacked the CCTV cameras. Ethan writes about Riley and the van on the smartwatch, hoping the message reaches the police. However, the man notices this and orders Ethan to lock the smartwatch in the locker as well. Ethan realizes he is being closely watched and can't do anything from his current position. The scene shifts to a police officer named Elena, who is investigating the location where Marco killed Robert. She finds a chip there, which she hands over to Tom for analysis. The chip contains a recording, but much of it is damaged due to the fire. Tom manages to recover some of it, though it remains unclear. The scene returns to Ethan, where the man tells him, "My guy is on his way. But until then, let's chat. While talking, Ethan tries to identify the man based on background noises, suspecting he is nearby. Finally, Ethan spots the man wearing a black cap sitting nearby. Believing the man isn't watching him, Ethan attempts to act smart again. He writes something on an invisible ink pen and hands the boarding pass to a police officer. When the officer examines the pass under a UV light, he discovers Ethan's message. However, just as the police begin to take action, Ethan notices the man he was speaking to has disappeared. Unbeknownst to Ethan, the man bumps into the police officer and retrieves the boarding pass. In the ensuing commotion, the man incapacitates the officer and escapes with the pass. Finally, Ethan sees the man's face and realizes it is none other than Marco, the same person we saw at the beginning of the film. The person you saw at the beginning of the movie, Marco, is the one who brought the suitcase to Robert. Marco sits next to Ethan and takes out a boarding pass. He starts reading everything written on it by Ethan. Marco says, "You're smart, but if you try to act clever here, your wife could die. If you care about your wife, this is your last chance. If you make any mistakes after this, your wife will be killed at my command. Now go sit at the scanner. My man will be arriving soon." However, Ethan is faced with another problem because the supervisor had reassigned Jason to the scanner in Ethan's place. Jason tells him, "You'll need to talk to the supervisor." When Ethan approaches the supervisor, he says, "A police officer has already died, and this is a serious matter. That's why I don't want you at the scanner since you're not yet skilled enough at operating it. Go and assist with physical checks instead." The supervisor leaves, but Marco tells Ethan, "You need to remove Jason from there. Do whatever it takes to replace him, or Jason's wife and kids, as well as your Nora, will all be in danger." An idea strikes Ethan. He quickly grabs some alcohol and mixes it into coffee. Bringing the coffee to Jason, Ethan says, "I can't find my phone. Check if it fell somewhere." As Jason bends down to look, Ethan switches his coffee. Afterward, Ethan says, "Maybe my phone is in the drawer," and leaves. Meanwhile, Marco informs the supervisor about the alcohol. The supervisor checks Jason's coffee and indeed finds alcohol in it. Though Jason claims it isn't his, the supervisor doesn't believe him and fires him. Once again, the supervisor places Ethan at the scanner. Now the main scene is about to unfold. The man carrying the suitcase, named Mattel, is wearing a red cap and has entered Ethan's line. He places the suitcase on the scanner, and Ethan begins checking it. Meanwhile, Elena is shown analyzing a recording. Listening to it repeatedly, she discovers some information about a Russian poison. The poison is used by Russians as a weapon and is so dangerous it could devastate the surrounding environment and kill many people. Ethan discovers that the suitcase contains some sort of weapon, although he doesn't know what it is or how it works. He does realize, however, that it's the same poison Elena had been researching, and it could destroy the entire plane. Feeling panicked, Ethan rushes to the washroom and begins vomiting. Marco finds him and warns, "Don't try to be clever until the suitcase is safely on the plane." Ethan pleads, "There are 800 people on that plane, women and children. Why are you doing this?" Marco responds, "I don't want to kill anyone. This is just my job." The scene shifts to show a federal agent named John arriving at Elena's location. Elena, wanting to further investigate the Russian poison, requested his assistance. Meanwhile, Tom rushes to Elena, informing her that a security guard named Ethan at the airport made a brief 10-second call to the police but didn't say anything. He also mentions that a police officer at the same airport recently died of a heart attack. Suspicious, Elena decides to visit the airport but sends some officers ahead to check things out. The police arrive at the airport and begin closing all lines and checkpoints. The supervisor tells everyone to be thorough with checks. Ethan, thinking quickly, enters Mattel's name into the supervisor's machine and hands it to him. Afterward, Jason confronts Ethan, saying, "You're a despicable person," as Jason had figured out that Ethan had spiked his coffee. When the supervisor sees Mattel's name flagged, he takes him into custody. Marco, noticing this, questions Ethan, "What's going on?" Ethan responds, "I don't know. I'm sorry, but I can't help you anymore." Saying this, He removes his earpiece and runs downstairs to find his wife, Nora, who works there. Ethan wants to escape with her, but he notices a laser on Nora's head. Riley has a sniper trained on her. Knowing he can't risk it, Ethan puts his earpiece back in and heads to the washroom, where Marco confronts him and beats him up. Marco says, "I warned you not to make mistakes, but you keep making them." As Marco holds him, Ethan pulls out a taser and points it at him. Marco responds, "You'll never learn," and activates the weapon inside the suitcase using his phone. Marco warns, there's a 10-minute timer. In 10 minutes, the explosion will kill everyone here, around 60,000 people. You have a choice. Save the 800 passengers on the plane or the 60,000 people here at the airport. If you don't want this to happen, go to your supervisor and retrieve the suitcase. Ethan rushes to the supervisor's office, gun in hand, and points it at him. Hesitant to shoot, he watches as Mattel uses a pen to attack the supervisor. Ethan stops Mattel and demands, "Why did you do this?" Mattel reveals, "My brother is being held captive. I had no choice." Following Marco's instructions, Ethan carefully disarms the suitcase, deactivating the timer. The scene shifts to Elena, who is on her way to the airport with John. Tom calls Elena to warn her, "The federal agent John sitting next to you isn't the real John. The real agent was just dispatched." Realizing the truth, Elena draws her gun on John and asks, "Who are you? And why are you here?" John speeds up the car, trying to unbalance her and snatch the gun. The car crashes severely, leaving both injured. When John regains consciousness, he starts choking Elena, but she sees an opportunity and she shoots John with her gun. Meanwhile, Ethan, on Marco's orders, is heading towards the cargo with the suitcase. During this time, Marco has Mattel talk to his brother. After the conversation, Marco tells Mattel, "Now you have one last job to do. Kill Ethan." Hearing this, Mattel pulls out his gun and starts shooting at Ethan. Luckily, Ethan notices this in the reflection of a glass window and dodges just in time. As the two fight, the suitcase falls and gets lost in the chaos. Mattel keeps firing his gun, but one shot accidentally backfires and hits him. As a result, Mattel dies. Ethan picks up Mattel's phone and tries to call Nora, but she is busy and unable to answer. He leaves a message for a close friend working at the airport, warning them that Nora's life is in danger. When Nora reads the message, she repeatedly tries to call Ethan, but he doesn't answer because he doesn't have his phone. Meanwhile, Elena has arrived at the airport and speaks to the supervisor, instructing them to shut everything down. Marco, searching for the suitcase, comes downstairs and shoots Ethan in the leg. Despite his injury, Ethan runs, but Marco tells him, "Give me the suitcase, and then leave. I won't harm you." Ethan seems to comply and leaves the suitcase behind, but Elena, who was informed that Ethan had gone downstairs, follows him and confronts him at gunpoint. Ethan pleads, "I need to go. My wife's life is in danger." He pushes Elena aside and tells her everything about Marco's appearance before leaving. Meanwhile, Marco had already instructed Riley to kill Nora. Riley chases Nora, but she manages to escape to the parking area. There, she tricks Riley and attacks him with a bottle before running away. Ethan finds Nora and holds her as Riley prepares to shoot them, but at the last moment, someone else shoots Riley. It's Mattel's brother, who had been held captive by Riley in a van. When Ethan tells him that Mattel died trying to save him, he becomes very sad. But the story isn't over yet. Ethan still needs to stop Marco from boarding the plane with the suitcase. Unfortunately, Marco has already boarded the plane. The good news is that Ethan switched the suitcase's barcode with another one, ensuring it would be scanned. When the suitcase is scanned, Ethan learns which plane it's on. He tells Nora, "I can defuse the bomb because I've done it before. Go to Elena and tell her not to stop the plane." Ethan runs towards the plane, which is about to take off. Elena, trying to stop the plane, is informed by Nora, "Don't stop the plane. Let it take off. If you try to stop it, Marco will activate the bomb." Ethan is on board and can defuse it. Left with no choice, Elena orders security to let the plane take off. As the plane takes off, Ethan sneaks into the cargo hold. Marco, realizing that Ethan is on board and tampering with the suitcase, comes to the cargo hold with a gun. He shoots Ethan in the leg again. Hearing the gunshots, the pilots realize there are armed individuals in the cargo hold and decide to turn the plane back towards the airport. Meanwhile, Ethan places the suitcase in a freezer. When Marco opens the freezer to check the suitcase, he finds the chemicals missing. Ethan reveals that he has the chemical in his hands. A fight ensues, and Ethan pushes Marco into the freezer and throws the chemical bottle in with him. Quickly, Ethan locks the freezer. Marco struggles inside but eventually dies a horrific death as the chemical dehydrates his body completely. The plane lands back at the airport, where police surround it. Elena arrives and lets Ethan go. Ethan reunites with Nora, and they happily celebrate Christmas together. And with that, friends, this story comes to an end. If you enjoyed this explanation and want to dive deeper into thrilling movies, series, and hidden plot twists, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update. We're here to simplify complex stories and bring every detail to you so you don't miss a thing. Do you have a favorite movie or series you'd like us to break down? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Remember, every story has secrets, and we're here to uncover them for you. Don't forget to share this video with your friends who love movies as much as you do. Let's grow this R4Recap community together. See you in the next video. Take care and goodbye.